What it do, fight fans? We are so back. I kind of copied Bedtime MMA with that What It Do intro. But whatever, shout out to Bedtime MMA. We are so back in the realm of MMA because for the first time in like 4 weeks, it's fight night. But at the same time, are we really back though? Because our first fight, not our first fight, but our first main event, our first event in 4 weeks, we went from Covington versus Buckley to this. Dern versus Ribas. Now look, I am an advocate for women's MMA. I love my women's MMA, okay? Also keep in mind, this is my first upload this year, 6 days into the year. Just want to put that out there. I haven't uploaded a video in 8 days. I apologize, guys, for the inactivity. I just didn't really have any, video ideas. There just wasn't much to talk about. But I'm coming around to doing a breakdown and prediction for the rematch with Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Ribas. But again, this wouldn't be my choice of a main event to come back from like a 4-week break. I'm just saying, look, I love women's MMA, but this fight in particular isn't the most intriguing, and it's 5 rounds. Women's MMA fight nights in the Apex, like fight night main events in the Apex, women's MMA, never really turned out that good. But whatever, at least the drought is over. At least a fight is going on. And again, I love women's MMA. It's just the quality of matchup. It's not a high-level women's MMA matchup. It's between two low-level women's MMA fighters. Neither of them are really top level or any good, but here we are. So let's just get into the breakdown. So we got Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas, the rematch, 6 years in the making. The rematch no one really asked for. They were supposed to rematch at UFC Tampa, which they actually first fought at UFC Tampa, Florida in October 2019, but in December 2024, they were supposed to run it back as a co-main to Buckley versus Covington, and for whatever reason, they moved this fight 4 weeks so it could headline an Apex card, which literally no one asked for this. We don't need to see this for a full 5 rounds. We were good with 3 rounds on a fight night as a co-main, but this has to be the center of attention and a full 5 rounds, but whatevs. Now, Mackenzie Dern, of course, is known for her high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She is a former ACDC Jiu-Jitsu world champion, I think, or ADCC or whatever it's called, right? So she's, very high-level, very dangerous on the ground. But that's all Dern is really known for, is being a threat on the ground. Now, she does have decent power on the feet. She's very tough, headstrong. She's willing to bite down on the mouthpiece and brawl and get in these wild, crazy exchanges. Like, she will throw down with you on the feet. But her main objective is to obviously get you to the ground, whether it be through taking you down or pulling guard. But an issue with Dern's style is she's super, super one-dimensional. She's not known for good stand-up. Let's just put it that way. Like, she will stand with you, and because she does hit hard, she can actually do damage, and she could hurt you. But her technique, her form isn't there. That's why she doesn't get many knockouts. She might get a few knockdowns, but again, her striking is a little bit behind. Deficient on the feet, and her wrestling isn't that good. She doesn't have good enough wrestling to go with her Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Although she did kind of outstrike Lupe Godinez, I'm sure, which is kind of weird. But again, women's MMA, it's just sometimes logic doesn't apply to women's MMA because women's MMA kind of sucks sometimes. I can see why it gets the criticism it gets. But yeah, she's very one-dimensional and doesn't have good takedowns and doesn't have good striking, but has power. And I think her power and her brawling, her willingness to brawl and get scrappy, sometimes gives her the edge on the feet against certain fighters who might be afraid to get hit by her. But I don't know. I feel like against Amanda Ribas, she's at a bit of a disadvantage because Ribas, even though I see her as a low level fighter, Ribas is multidimensional. Ribas is pretty good on the feet. Better with her hands, better with her kicks, better with her footwork. And she can keep up with Mackenzie Dern on the ground. Amanda Ribas also has high level Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I don't see Mackenzie Dern being able to sub her. Now, it's possible Mackenzie Dern could maybe chin Amanda because Amanda is a bit chinny and Dern can crack. And I will say Dern has slightly improved from their first fight in 2019. And also in that first fight, Dern was coming off of, she rushed coming back after giving birth. She didn't even go on maternity leave. It's like 5 months after giving birth, she came back. So of course she wasn't going to be at her best self or in the best physical conditioning going into that fight against Ribas. But ultimately, I just think Ribas is all around a bad matchup because on the feet, I think she can outstrike Dern. She already did in the first fight. She went 2 for 2 on takedowns. She stuffed every one of Mackenzie Dern's takedowns. And she pieced her up and won by decision. She basically outclassed her. And I just feel like this fight, it's probably going to be an extended version of their first fight, just longer because it's 5 rounds. But yeah, ultimately, I think this is going to be the same outcome. I think Amanda Ribas wins again. I just think styles make fights. I think Amanda Ribas is stylistically better. And again, neither are that good, but Dern ain't good. So even though Dern is like ranked higher in the division, Ribas has never sniffed the top 5 before. I'm not even sure if Mackenzie's even top 5 herself, but Ribas has never reached that high in the rankings of a women's strawweight. This might be her breakthrough, actually, by beating Mackenzie Dern, beating someone that she already beat years ago. But another issue with Dern going into this fight is Mackenzie Dern has a bad track record of going on a win-loss, win-loss, loss-loss run. Ever since 2021, this woman has not been able to string together more than one win. It's been this way for the last 4 years. Okay, the last time Dern was on like an effective win streak, I mean, she was undefeated prior to her loss with Ribas. Then after that, she put together 4 wins in a row over Hannah Cyphers, Randa Marcos, Verna Jandiroba, which is impressive in hindsight seeing where Verna is now, and Nina Nunes. But ever since her first loss in 2 years to Marina Rodriguez, who also beat Ribas, it's been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. She bounced back with a controversial split decision win against Tisha Pennington, and then lost to Yan Xiaonan. And then outclassed Angela Hill, looked amazing, got knocked out by Jessica Andrade, got almost knocked out by Lemos, lost a majority decision. And then, she did beat Lupita Godinez in that fight. Good on her. But again, the matchup, the style's not good for Dern. And if history shows me anything, Mackenzie Dern is due for another loss. She's due to lose her next fight after winning her last one. It's like she's kind of caught the Randa Marcos effect. Now, Ribas is kind of on the same boat. I mean, she hasn't really been on a win streak since, the last time she was on a win streak was from 2016 to 2020, where I think she won like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights in a row. And it seemed like she was a promising prospect in the women's strawweight division. But then ever since it all crashed and burned with Marina Rodriguez, she just hasn't, I don't know if she hasn't been the same or she's just been exposed and then just kept losing, She lost to Marina, beat Verna, good on her, and then lost to Caitlin Sermonara when she moved up to flyweight, and then stayed at flyweight for a bit, and then beat Vivi, got destroyed by Macy Barber, went back to strawweight, beat Luana Pinheiro, and then went back to flyweight, lost to Rose Namajunas. Now who knows? Maybe if Ribas would have stayed in the strawweight division instead of going to flyweight, maybe she could have strung together more than one win in a row. But again, she's on the same boat as Dern. Win one, lose another. Win one, lose another. But I do believe January the 11th, we're going to see Amanda Ribas bounce back in the win column. And another thing I want to point out in this fight, too, with Ribas matching Dern on the ground, is Mackenzie Dern against one-dimensional strikers. She hasn't been able to get subs on them. So how am I supposed to believe that she's going to submit Amanda Ribas? You know what I mean? Like, she had 5 rounds to sub Angela Hill. I'm pointing at the wrong name with my mouse, but she rocked Hill several times in that fight, and it's easy to submit someone after you rock them. She had several minutes of control time throughout that fight against Angela Hill and couldn't sub her. It took her to a decision. And again, couldn't sub Amanda Lemos because Amanda Lemos, like Ribas, is pretty good on the ground. Now Tisha's hard to submit, or she's hard to finish in general, so understandable. But couldn't sub Yan Xiaonan, who's not known for a ground game. Had like a full round of control time, couldn't get a sub. She had Marina Rodriguez in so much trouble on the ground in round 2. Had her in the mount and couldn't sub her. So if you're not subbing Marina, Tisha, Yan Xiaonan, Angela Hill, like literally her last, like, how many opponents? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Her last 7 opponents she couldn't sub. And like 5 of them, she had them on the ground and couldn't finish them. Then you'd have to think that someone like Amanda Ribas will do fine on the ground against Dern. She can beat her standing, and if she wants to, she can take the fight to the ground, dominate on the ground, and of course, she might not stay on top too long. She might at some point have to let Dern back up because there is a risk. She can still take her down, neutralize her for a good period of time, to win the round, to score points before letting Dern back up. Probably do a bit more damage standing. So I'm going to say Amanda Ribas wins another decision. Probably 49-46, maybe 4 rounds to 1. But it's going to be another 5 rounds of Mackenzie Dern getting her ass beat in the apex, like when she fought Marina, like when she fought Yan Xiaonan. But that's it for my prediction. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And now I cannot wait to get to UFC 311.